A few weeks back, I made a video titled Jimmy Dore and the Kremlin Progressives. In that video, I talked in great detail about how Jimmy Dore and a collection of others have links to RT and abet the Kremlin by repeating RT talking points. In my list of people, I mentioned a Jimmy Dore sycophant, pro-Putin YouTuber who is a regular guest on Dore's video podcast. His name is Jackson Hinkle. Now, I couldn't find direct links to him in RT, but I did notice that he parrots RT narratives, which is a big reason as to why Dore put him on his list of frequent visiting talking heads. This led me to scour the interweb, where I discovered a plethora of similar, like-minded, incestuous people that use what I'll be referring to as the Hinkle method. The Hinkle method is a multifaceted media tactic used by social media content creators to get the attention of RT shill Jimmy Dore. The tactic is for the creator to see Trump as no threat and the inevitable 2024 victor for president. Jimmy Dore is to be frequently covered and defended. Putin/RT talking points are accepted as truth and or spewed consistently, and apathetic voter sentiment is fueled by condoning third-party candidates while at the same time chastising them. They follow much of what is in the Kremlin progressive playbook, a playbook of methods to dissuade progressives from being involved in politics in order to help Trump get reelected to benefit the ruthless autocrat Putin. If the Hinkle method is used and done correctly, the creator will get guest spots on the Jimmy Dore show, which subsequently results in a larger viewership, more likes, and new subscribers. I now present to you the sycophantic tribe of the wannabe Kremlin progressives. Example 1. Kit Cabello of Hard Lens Media.
We're equal threats to our democracy. Donald Trump is a threat to our democratic system. He says he wants to be a dictator on day one. President Biden doesn't pose that threat.
He doesn't? Really? Is that why we're in so many wars and conflicts right now? Our economy's going to crap. Americans can't own a home. Renters can't afford the rent. Small businesses being shut down. We got natural man-made disasters. Americans facing homelessness. There's no Medicare for all, no student debt forgiveness. Americans are in huge credit card debt. There's an opioid crisis. There's a crisis at the border. But Trump. It's all about Trump.
Notice how Kit keeps quiet about Trump's previous comments or the fact that he tried to steal an election, which he has been indicted for, but is quick to go off on a contrived diatribe against Biden, ironically listing off all of the problems that were present under the Trump administration as well. Furthermore, the complaints point to a leader's ineptitude, not to the fact that he is a threat to democracy. So already we can see Kit shies away from attacking Trump, a Putin ally, while attacking Biden.
I said this before in other segments. I've said this before on other shows. I don't care about Trump presidency. It's not going to impact my life. And it's not going to impact your life either.
No need to fear Trump. It won't impact you. It doesn't matter.
Okay? And second of all, we are ruled over by dictators and tyrants and dynastic families.
See, we already live under tyrants. It's already a tyranny. So who cares if Trump said he wants to be a dictator on day one?
You people better turn out to vote. I want to see Nikki Haley lose, all right? That's right. That's right. Listen to me very carefully, Trumpers. I want you people to show out to vote. I don't care what it is. I don't care if your firstborn child's being born, if it's your wedding day, if you're going to jail, you're about to serve overseas, or you're 6 feet under. You better show up to vote. You people better show up to vote.
So now he wants people to vote for a majority party candidate, even if they are quote-unquote 6 feet under. I guess he's okay with election fraud for a Trump victory. So far, he has defended Trump, assured voters he shouldn't be feared, then went so far as to encourage people to vote for him. Now, there's 3 major third-party candidates currently vying for the presidency: RFK Jr., Dr. Cornel West, and Dr. Jill Stein. Let's see who Kit's getting behind.
I don't support RFK Jr. due to his stance with Israel and Gaza, all right, and the ongoing crisis happening there.
Well, I guess RFK Jr. isn't the guy.
Dr. Cornel West, I have no idea what you were thinking, associating yourself with Dr. or by dropping Dr. Jill Stein and setting up with Peter Douche. This one? Now, of course, maybe my analogy is wrong. Maybe I shouldn't compare Peter Dow to the Village Bicycle, but looking at his long history in regards to who he's been associated with, let me just go ahead and pull up this tweet. Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Marianne Williamson, and even before Hillary Clinton, there was John Kerry. Yeah, and now he's with Dr. Cornel West. This is a very interesting political journey that he has been on. What kind of madness is this?
Well, it seems like Dr. West isn't fit for the presidency either.
I want to be honest. I hope I'm proven wrong. I would like to see the Green Party succeed and get 5%. I like to see them get an electoral college vote. I don't want to see the worst case scenario where they fizzle out and say, everyone behind Biden or whoever the Democrat nominee will be. And I will apply the same standards to the Libertarian Party. And I do want to see a rise of third parties. But I have to give a shout out to this good friend of the show, Roger Meadows, who suggests, hey, abolish all political parties, because at this point, in my opinion, seems to be the correct path, and supporting citizen ballot initiatives and starting building movements and organizations not connected to Washington, D.C.
What do you know? It appears he's not a fan of Jill Stein, and actually, he criticized most of the candidates besides Trump, and now he's just not for any political parties. And he wants to do something outside of D.C.?
Now, to be fair here, I'm not going to vote Republican. I'm not going to vote for Trump. I'm going to vote independent third party. This probably might be the last election that I'm going to vote in. All right. I have a lot to think about in regards to this election, because I'm not impressed with the whole field of candidates. I expected a little bit more out of third parties and independents, but whatever.
What we think their new plan is to try and win a handful of states in order to force a contingent election. Basically to deny either Biden or Trump a path to 270 votes. If that happens, that is likely to trigger the 12th Amendment that would throw the vote of the 2024 election to the House of Representatives. In that crazy scenario, what would happen is the House would vote by delegation. Right now, Republicans control 26 delegations, so a House vote would mean Donald Trump would win in the most chaotic and dangerous way possible.
Now, I'm just going to give my thoughts on this right here. It's not a deep thought. It's not anything that's going to shake the foundations of the world. It's just, I actually want to see that happen.
And there it is. He's never going to vote again, and he wants to see Trump win. Well, if we end up having an actual tyranny, you won't need to vote.
Now, it is rather interesting to bring this up here, where Putin says the Ukraine war is an attempt to stop what the CIA started in 2014. If this triggers people, look, too bad, so sad. We're in this war, and billions of dollars have been wasted. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been wasted on this war. And Donald Trump is correct. I just want people to stop dying. It's not a controversial statement. I just want people to stop dying.
And for our last clip of Kit, we see the U.S. being blamed for Russia's invasion of Ukraine by Putin. Kit agreeing with the notion, then Kit wrapping it up nicely by making Trump out to be altruistic. In conclusion, Kit Cabello has followed the Hinkle method to a T, and now he's reaping the benefits. Example 2. Keaton Rice and Russell Dorbula of the Do Dissidence video podcast. Now let's observe Keaton White's New Hampshire primary footage to see how his demeanor changes based on what voters and what candidates he talks to.
No, Congress. Congressman, you can kick me out of here in a minute if you want to.
I don't kick anybody out. But
okay, can I please?
With respect, and you're being disrespectful.
That's fine.
I'm giving it to the
In 3 weeks ago, you said in an interview. Okay, first of all, I was for Medicare for all before you were, way before you were, but when you said you need to vote. No, because he's not going to call on me. You said 3 weeks ago.
Hold on, I will call on you.
All right, fine.
If you play by the rules and be decent, you know what? I will call on you.
When?
Okay.
When?
Answer. Why are you the only one that thinks just
3 weeks ago,
Sir,
you said that Benjamin Netanyahu. 3 weeks ago, you said that Benjamin Netanyahu was a bad guy, but you have not said that Israel's committed war crimes. Has Israel committed war crimes? Can you say that? Can you say Israel has committed war crimes? It's time to go.
This is what
There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence for January 6th being an insurrection, even though by fate, it was a matter of fate that they didn't bring their guns. That's what he tells you. But you have.
I'm grateful for protesters like that, because that's what my husband and military men and women sacrifice for us every day to be able to have the power of our voice.
All right, well, good. Here's one more then. Here's one more, as long as you're happy.
No, we're not going to do that. So first
I thought you're grateful for protesters. Well, you're not grateful? You just said you're grateful for protesters.
Okay, better talk. Get out of here.
Seniors should work till they're 80, right?
Let's go, you're out.
You want to raise the retirement age so seniors can work till they're 80. So the Nazis in Ukraine can get the money, and the mass murdering Nazis in Israel can get the money. I mean, she's
Come on, watch yourself.
So, folks, we're now quite a few blocks away from the arena. This line just keeps going and going and going. Your second rally in 2 days?
Yeah.
Second rally in 2 days. So, you just made it to the back of the line here. We're probably 4 or 5 blocks away. Got to get your steps in. That's right. That's right. So, what do you think of these turnouts?
You know what? It is beyond words, beyond blatant as to the disparity, the difference between people on the left and people on the right.
Well, not just that, but I mean, I was at a Nikki Haley event this morning. I don't know if that constitutes left to you.
No, I'm saying, like, I have a lot of friends I grew up with and such that are on the left,
right?
Predominantly.
Right.
Girls I grew up with that are, like, raging liberals.
Right.
And I sit there and I say to myself, I'm like, you know, high school, grade school, I was there. And these girls that are raging liberals that are the way that they are, they weren't mixing and going from group to group to group. They were.
What do you mean?
They were staying consistent to only hanging out with their little groups. So
right.
Their whole virtue signaling, you know, all inclusive. Talk is cheap. They don't back it up.
This looks like a pretty devoted following here. You guys look like the kind of guys who would probably vote for him even if he did get thrown in jail, right?
Why would he go to jail for?
I'm just saying if they throw him in jail, you know, if they get him on something. I'm not saying they should. I'm saying, you know, they seem pretty determined to stop him, don't they?
The FBI seems determined. The CIA seems determined. Fannie Willis and her boyfriend who getting $700 grand seems pretty determined.
Exactly.
Yeah, they seem very determined.
And when Trump says, you know, they're not coming for me, they're coming for you, I'm in their way, what do you think he means by that?
He means when Obama had the IRS going after conservatives and Christians, when Joe Biden had the Justice Department going, when 2,700 people were locked in jail, being threatened with 20-year felonies for walking in the White House. That's the kind of thing he means.
At what point, though, do we say that the Democratic Party is the wrong road? You have these 3 great people here who are talking about feeding kids. If we are not a majority of even the voting public or even the Democratic primary, you mentioned Dean Phillips. Dean Phillips, I was at an event of his yesterday. He threw me out for asking a question about Gaza. He's a walking pile of garbage. And he went from 0% in the race a few months ago. Now he's polling in the 30s. You're down in single digits. I don't mean any disrespect by that. I'm just saying it's not necessarily because of the race you ran, and I don't agree with you on everything for sure. It's because because of the party in which you're running. Look around. You got morons on the street here saying we're going to write in Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not even running in this race. He's got people writing his name in 60, 70%. So if we can harness this energy that you're talking about, and I have a lot of respect for that vision, if we can harness this into mutual aid networks with the understanding that we are not a voting majority, but we can harness this power in other ways to help each other survive the inevitable demise of this country, which we all know is coming, do we not? I mean, we feel it, right? It's going to be Biden. It's going to be Trump. It's probably going to end up being Trump. So there you have it, right?
It's gonna be Trump, so there you have it. Keaton Weiss says that while talking about vague political projects, I guess outside of D.C., like what Kit Cabello said earlier. But anywho, you can clearly surmise from this New Hampshire primary campaign collage who the Dissidence duo despises and who they don't mind. This one video speaks volumes. It provides voter apathetic mood contagion and a fatalistic attitude. The message? Just accept the inevitable Trump victory and look elsewhere. But what did they say about Russia or Putin? Well, let's take a look.
He had some harsh words for his own country and some pretty favorable words for the Eastern Russian Empire. Here is Tucker Carlson talking about how much nicer it was in Moscow than it is here in the United States.
Radicalizing, very shocking and very disturbing for me was the city of Moscow, where I'd never been, the biggest city in Europe, 13 million people. And it is so much nicer than any city in my country. I had no idea. My father spent a lot of time there in the 80s when he worked for the U.S. government and barely had electricity. And now it is so much cleaner and safer and prettier aesthetically. It's architecture, it's food, it's service than any country, city in the United States that you have to, and this is non-ideological. How did that happen? How did that happen? And at a certain point, I don't think the average person cares as much about abstractions as about the concrete reality of his life.
We could talk theory and we could talk ideology, but at the end of the day, people experience life in the real world, and when their experience is good, that at a certain point must be a reflection of leadership, a reflection of the system in which that exists.
So for our last Dissidence clip, we have Keaton showing Mr. Carlson praising the beauty of Moscow while covertly accrediting that to Putin's leadership. Keaton, in response, wholeheartedly agrees. They too have followed the Hinkle method, and because of that, Dissidence co-host Russell Dabilar is now the Jimmy Dore regular guest host. That's why in the last clip you see Kit Cabello filling in for Russell. But this video isn't so much about them as it is about giving you the knowledge of the Hinkle method. I did this so you don't get duped and know what's going on behind the curtains. Some other notable wannabe Kremlin progressives would be Savvy Sabs and the Real Blackout Network, for example. So, if you're bored, check out their videos and put the Hinkle method to the test. They'll prove its existence and outcomes to be true every time. For Truthbuster Inc., this has been Peace.
I don't care if Trump wins the presidency. I really don't care. I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.